Joining us now for reaction, Democratic Senator from Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse, who has been key not only in calling out Mitch McConnell's obstruction, but also in shining a light on dark money and the GOP's increasing reliance on it. You are at the intersection of just about everything we talk about. I wanted to talk to you for a while, so thank you for spending some time with us today. First, Senator, your reaction to Mitch McConnell.
Well, the latest news is that it looks like Mitch just folded, and we are going to be able to go forward the way he originally suggested as Democrats and raise the debt limit. And we'll be able to do that at least through December, which gives us the necessary window of time and more to finish Build Back Better and pass that in the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So it looks like he's withdrawn his threat to blow up the U.S. economy in order to score political points, and we can go forward and do Build Back Better.
Why do you think he folded?
I suspect he was starting to get a lot of pressure from the financial interests behind him, who realized that he was playing with dynamite that would blow their fingers off.
So you mentioned the financial interests behind him, and I've seen some of your comments as the Texas abortion ban has made its way through to the Supreme Court, and I wonder if you can speak about whether the extreme nature of the Republican Party that's so brazen now, and I guess maybe what's a distinction is that this version of the Republican Party is so openly extreme on abortion, on the Supreme Court justices, on the debt ceiling. And I wonder if you think it gives renewed interest to look at something you've talked about for a long time, the forces, the dark money forces.
Yeah, it's the reason the Republican Party is openly extreme is partly Donald Trump. But more than that, it's that there's basically unified command and control over the party by a small group of extremist donors. And when you have a control by extremists over a party, you have an extreme party. And we know this because we've seen the Heritage Action tape that showed the dark money driving voter suppression. We know this because we have read the Washington Post expose of the hundreds of millions of dollars of dark money spent on court capture. We know this because we've seen the dark money laid out in scientific journals behind the climate denial operation. And we know it because when you poke at Mitch McConnell's big money, it's dark money. And it's the same crew, and they're pulling all these levers. And the sooner Democrats start telling the public about this, the better off we'll be.
So just explain, help me understand how those dark money interests were against what you just said, what the Democrats are going to be able to do, which is to avoid our country having to default, something 6 former defense secretaries warned against today.
Well, I think their play was make Mitch take us as close to a debt limit crisis as we can to see if the Democrats fold. And when we didn't, they realized that a global economic meltdown led by a U.S. debt limit crisis was going to blow them up with everybody else. And so they pulled the plug on the plan. Mitch folded, and now we've got time to go ahead and do Build Back Better, which was probably ultimately their goal anyway. They wanted to get us tangled up in a debt limit fight so that we couldn't do Build Back Better.
So tell me what happens next.
We go do Build Back Better.
The president put filibuster reform on the table. Do you need to do that? Do you do it through reconciliation? Just take me through the steps, because I think people feel the alarm.
Immediately, we go to the floor with whatever Mitch has agreed to, whether it's us doing it with 50 votes or them providing 10 votes, and we clear the debt limit through December in regular order. And that's now done and a threat off our backs through December. And then we finish up the deal-making between the White House and Speaker Pelosi and Senator Schumer and make sure our caucuses are all united, and we pass Build Back Better for once and for all. And then the American people see why they voted for Democrats.
You said something, this description of Mitch McConnell folding feels like a development that we shouldn't skip past. It seems like Mitch McConnell's hardball tactics take on a mythology that exceeds Mitch McConnell's political acumen, but he still seems to be in the heads of a lot of political observers. And I wonder if you could just speak to what the president said yesterday about filibuster reform, not just around the debt ceiling, because it sounds like there's a legislative solution to that, but around the rest of a lot of these priorities, voting rights, perhaps reproductive freedoms, perhaps gun legislation.
Well, that's a battle for the future. I think the thing immediately in front of us is to pass Build Back Better, which already gets around the filibuster because of its reconciliation nature. And we've got to put all our effort into getting that done and then passing through, getting the bipartisan bill done with it and putting that whole package before the American people to enjoy and appreciate. And I think that's got to be our key and immediate goal. Longer term, there are going to be more threats. In December, I think Mitch is going to try to run this same play. And it's going to be a question for historians whether Mitch McConnell is a sock puppet who is doing what he's told by a crafty, very well-funded dark money operation that's pulling his strings, or whether he's the evil genius that people sometimes fear. And I'm not going to offer an opinion on that right now.
Okay, I had to try. I want to ask your personal views, though, about filibuster reform. Are you for it?
I think that we've got to work our way there, but there are definitely things that we need to do. And if the filibuster is abused against us, we've got to break through it and get it done. We can't have a situation where a party that is run by dark money can use the filibuster to keep democracy under the thumb of dark money. At some point, democracy and majority rule have to prevail. That's the American way. And we've got to find our way there, and we've got to make it happen. But this shows that Mitch can also be made to blink when it looks like the caucus is unifying on something.
Well, is that where you are on voting rights? Are the Democrats unified on voting rights? Could you see, and respectfully, doesn't it feel like
we have the new voting rights bill that was, we have the new voting rights bill that was negotiated with Senator Manchin that all 50 of us are ready to vote for. It includes within it the cleanup for dark money. So, we have to get Build Back Better done, and after that, we'll have floor time to put pressure on the Republicans on other matters. But I think for them to go into the election being the party that defends dark money corruption is not a great place for them to be. So I think we can put immense pressure on them, either by finding a way around the filibuster for that matter, or by simply putting so much pressure on them like old school. So much pressure on them that they have to answer for their conduct every single darn day in the Senate that they finally throw in the towel and say, look, we're tired of being painted as the party of dark money. We're tired of having to vote to defend dark money when people hate it. We give. And I think both strategies can work, and I don't want to get in Chuck Schumer's way about which strategy he chooses. But we can get this done.
So I hear what you're articulating is a sequential nature to getting the Build Back Better bill done, but you're not ruling out filibuster reform.
That's got to happen now.
Okay. I want to ask you specifically about the role of dark money and sort of the reporting that's been done, the investigative reporting about the voter suppression laws. They seem to have been crafted in right-wing conservative think tanks. You and I both know where they are and where they were distributed. It seems to me that because they're so malevolent, it's hard to attach descriptions like wildly successful to them, but they have been. And 33 voter suppression laws and almost more alarming voter nullification measures have already been put in place. Do you feel urgency to, after the Build Back Better bill, turn to protecting voting rights in America?
Yeah, absolutely, particularly the dark money piece of it. The way that I think we should think about this is that essentially a covert operation has been run against our country. And we're Democrats, so we're nice people. So we don't think Americans would ever do that against their own country. But the fact of the matter that we have to face is that a bunch of creepy billionaires have done exactly that, using the tradecraft that intelligence services use to run covert operations in other countries. They've used a dark money operation in this country to capture the Supreme Court, do voter suppression, deny climate change, and take over the Republican Party. That is something that we need to fix, and it is really important for our country that we fix it, because a country that's run by creepy billionaires through a covert dark money operation isn't the America we want to hand off to our children and grandchildren.
As an ex-Republican, I can tell you that the too nice piece is what Republicans count on. It's what they anticipate when they prepare to do battle with Democrats. I appreciate you weighing in on all these headlines, and I hope we can continue the conversation as we watch the agenda move through and continue to watch whether the president and other Democratic leaders talk about filibuster reform, which seems like the only way to get voting rights done.
Good to be with you as always.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We will be right back.